Hello everyone, welcome to the workshop today. So myself Pradeep, I work as a senior validation analyst with Billennium, and I'm just letting you know that Billennium is a licensed partner with ValGenesis, and I'm happy to collaborate with ValGenesis on behalf of Billennium and explain you today in this workshop what ValGenesis has to offer and the life cycle, this particular electronic validation lifecycle management system, what benefits it has and all that. And let's jump into the agenda part. So I'll just give you a quick brief or introduction about what exactly is ValGenesis, which problem is it solving, and what is the problem firstly, and what benefits and features that it has for us to solve our everyday problems. I'm sure some of you are from validation background like me, and others could be from IT in different aspects or different technologies that you're working in. So and for after the first 10 minutes, I'll jump into the solution, the ValGenesis application itself, and I have the application logged in for you guys. I'll share my screen and I'll start sharing the different features that the application has. And then also have some recorded demonstrations that I would like you to, I'll take a walkthrough for all of your benefit. And then at the last, we'll have the Q&A, right? So first of all, why do we need ValGenesis? So whenever you think of any digital transformation in your company, so how will ValGenesis support here, right? So let me tell you. So many of you would have worked in a paper-based validation in your previous companies. Whoever is having like around 9 to 10 years of experience, you will know it better because I was working in a manufacturing site in my previous experiences in the past companies that I worked with, where all of them, I mean, in one of the companies which I worked, I have seen personally where people do not have a standard template or a document. So they follow their own ways of working. Let's say for validation registry, we have different validation documents like a validation plan, summary report, and all the other documents, right? So especially in the GXP projects or non-GXP projects, if you have experience working in it. So there we have a lot of data integrity issues, and also there are delays because whenever let's say I'm working on a document and that document has to be submitted for a formal review to X number of stakeholders. At the same time, we'll also have other documents coming in, and all of these files has to be properly stored in one place because these are physical documents and these are paper based documents, and we have to take the manual signatures on it, and then we have to again printing them and scanning them, storing them. So this is all a lot of compliance risk that is involved. And also at the end, everybody is always fearful about the audit or the inspection. What will the auditor ask? Where are these documents? Where are these stored? So how will I fetch them? How will I prove them that these are current and relevant? So to fix all these issues or challenges that we have, that we have been having in this industry, so I'm presenting you this validation lifecycle management system from ValGenesis, which has all these features. I'll explain one by one in detail. So as you see here, it has got a standard document templates. So for example, I would like to draft a test case, or I would like to draft my requirements, the URS requirements, or maybe to we have this risk management, a risk assessment document, or a traceability matrix. For all of these validation deliverables, we can define our own standard templates. For example, I work with a company or a client where they have their own SOPs and their templates. Similarly, if your company has got a different SOPs and templates, the document templates I'm talking about, you can define them at the beginning of the project itself, and then everybody can start consuming them. And it follows the standard templates, and it has got all these integrated in it. Like you see here, we can configure alerts for people to see the documents or review them or approve them. On the other hand, everybody can access it throughout the around the clock, irrespective of the time zones where they're working from, and all the data will be in one place. I'll show you how it is. And also I can assign the tasks to a group. Let's say I have a group called a QA group. I can assign it to the entire group. So one of them can go ahead and review the document or approve the document. Similarly, we also have this inspection readiness. When everything is in place and everything is ready on the portal or on the application, So whenever an auditor comes, it's easy to fetch for anybody to just present it, right? So that's why there is always inspection readiness here when we're doing things right. So let's move on further. This is validation lifecycle management, the ValGenesis. What validation processes it is supporting. So it supports the CSV, CSA, the CQV, and people whoever are working in like methods and cleaning. For example, some of you are working in MES, some of you are working in Aspire, or maybe I'm working in a current project where some of us deal with these equipment and instruments because of some migrations or some mergers and acquisitions. So it supports all use cases, ValGenesis, this application. And the key validation functionality is what I'm talking about. So as you see here, we can do the system assessment. And let's say whenever you have a new project or a new system that is yet to be implemented, you have to do a GXP assessment, right? So whether it's high, low, or medium. Similarly, you have to do a risk assessment for the retirement or for an implementation. And also you like I've been talking about a lot of validation deliverables in the previous slides. So we have traceability matrices, and this protocol authoring as in nothing but your test case drafting. Whenever you have some testing team who has to draft some test cases that they can do in this application itself within the application. And also you have to raise some deviations or exceptions which are not expected, but sometimes it happens, right? So if you want to document a deviation, and if you have some business analysts that they wanted to draft the requirements, so all this can be done with all the validation functionalities that ValGenesis is offering us. And as you see the other options that you see here, multi-tenant, offline mode, multilingual, multi-site. So these are all the features that ValGenesis has to offer. So if I'm going a little fast, maybe like I said, I will be sharing this presentation with all of you. And also I have a lot of materials. People who are interested, we can still discuss further, and maybe in your specific use case, we can see how we can address the challenges and see if this is a right fit or not. So let's move on further. So I have got this validation protocols flow where I want to just give you a use case how the efforts are being reduced for up to 90%. For example, in the earlier days where in my prime in the initial projects, I have seen people documenting either, let's say for example, we'll consider this test cases itself. So validation test cases or the protocols they call. So some of them started drafting the test cases from the beginning, and it would take almost 1 day to 2 days because they keep on writing it on a Excel sheet, and then they start uploading those Excel sheets into their respective systems, and then it has to go for review. And we have to keep pinging people, asking, "My document is ready now. Can you review the steps? Can you correct them?" And then after reviewing it, it goes for multiple corrections, and then it goes for approvals. And finally, after approvals, we have to collect all the documents whichever are approved, and again, so store them in one place, right? So whenever a document is being distributed from one person to the other sequentially, we have to reach out. There is always a dependency. For example, approver 1, approver 2, approver 3. Unless approver 1 completes it, approver 2 and 3 can't even look at the document. So this way, there are a lot of challenges in the previous phase. So now with ValGenesis, I'll show you how it is configured. So in such way, we are actually reducing it to like 4 to 5 hours itself. I mean, like you see here, overall, we are bringing down the efforts to up to 90% when I say that. So we'll see what exactly it is. So far, so good. Everybody is with me. I know I think I'm just giving you a high level picture of what ValGenesis has to offer, but we can discuss in detail. So I have actually come to the presentation part where I would like to show you some demonstrations and also show you the application now. So this is all the introduction part. It's a little tedious process in terms of understanding immediately everything or grasping things, but let's get into the details. So let me start sharing my screen with the application. So, so this is the application. Let me refresh it. So I just logged in here. This is a test instance that we created for one of my colleagues. The reason being I use the client instance and it's confidential, so I do not want to share that. But this test instance is exactly the same thing, and it has got some test data in it, so it would be easy for everybody to see. So to start with, so let's say I'll just go back to the presentation here. So in the demonstrations, we have these important features that ValGenesis has to offer: the inventory part, the dashboards, and the execution. How do we execute a test case with deviation, without deviation, and how do we do the system assessment, and the traceability matrix? How do we configure the traceability matrix, and where do we have it in the system? Where is it stored? So similarly, the other features as well, like scheduling assessment, content generation. So I have personally started recording videos by navigating through each of these steps. So which I'll be sharing with you the demonstrations for people whoever is interested. So let's go back to the application here. So as you see here, when I log in for the first time, it shows here my name and profile. If I go to the profile part, so as you see here, it shows me the credentials and password and all that. This is it's like any other application when you log in into the credentials. So when I go back to the home page, we'll see what exactly is on the home page or the dashboard page, right? So we'll start discussing one feature after the other. So let's start with the dashboard first. Okay. So when you see this dashboard, it says my dashboard, right? In this page, you're seeing tasks window where where I'm seeing about 18 tasks with different statuses. So schedule task, assessment, and the assessment date, target date, and also the deadline. Similarly, I have some tasks with overdue as a deadline showing up here, and also the status of it, right? Overdue tasks, some are not having a deadline that is configured. So these are different types of tasks that are showing up on my dashboard page. Similarly, I have the calendar and also the inventory. When I talk about inventory, let's say you work in a different project, I work in a different project, both of us wanted to use this ValGenesis. And in ValGenesis, I can configure a path where my project, my system, where exactly I can create a custom path where I can store all my validation deliverables there. So in that way, when everybody's documents are stored in the inventory, it starts showing up here. So as you see, work in progress, which are pending, which are already validated, which are not active. Similarly, the content, well, let's say the document templates that I was talking to you about. Let's say I want to initiate a new document. So I create a new, I consume the existing template and I start creating a validation plan, for example, or assurance plan, that whatever you call in your project. So once we start creating it, I can assign the task either to myself or to my team members. So when I do that, so all the content will be displaying here without even jumping into the content page. So it's just a dashboard, like I said. You can start seeing things like metrics from here, high level, with this bar chart, and you can customize these however you want. I'll show you how to do that as well. And also here you see the execution window where you can see how many test cases are executed. Is there something that are yet to be assigned? So this is a test instance, like I said, it's all configurable, customizable as per your need. And as you see here, you can hide or display or show, hide, you can customize like the way you want. Let me do one thing. I'll show you how I have done this. So if I click on this personalize and click on add card, as you see here, all these styles that are showing up here. So I can select which I want, which I don't want. So for example, I have work in progress tasks, or the validation framework, the custom reports. Let's say I wanted to schedule some tasks. So if I select this calendar, so as it has a like around 5 tiles I have selected now. So again, here, as you see here, I can select the layout, how many I want to see here. For example, I'm selecting this one, and I can still select more: inventory, assessment, and I'll select reports, work in progress task, calendar, validation framework. So this way, right, I think I'll select the content execution project. So I've selected all 9 of them. So that's when the save button gets enabled. When I click save, see the view got changed now. And it's customizable here. So if I'm just going back to the next dates, all these parameters will change. See how beautiful it is. As you see, for 21st, there are nothing that are assigned or to be displayed yet because that's a future date. So when I come back to today's date, I see 11 are assigned in my name. So This is all about dashboard. So this is one of the features that ValGenesis is offering is us. So let's go to the next one. I'll quickly go to the content page, or maybe I'll start with inventory. We'll see what exactly is there in the inventory. So like I was saying, so this is the project path where, for example, I'll open the computerized systems, production system. So you see a lot of systems here. So let's think that this is a manufacturing site or a in that we have multiple systems. For example, I'll open this Blender system. I'll click on it. So I'll see here what exactly is the entity. It's a Blender system, and we can configure all this, the entity number, so that all of them will be categorized entity wise. And you'll have an assessment ID for the assessment that was already done for this system. Whenever you perform a system assessment, you'll have assessment ID that will be generated. So all this can be done within the application. And you see here, let's see the details of this system. So the system owner is being displayed here. We don't need to search who is the system owner. So it is being displayed here, and the entity type. And as you see the system assessment which I was showing about, if I click here, I'll be seeing the system assessment, and I see that it is an approved and so date, and I have the plan here, and I can download it right now as well. And I see the summary, a quick high-level summary without even opening the document. So what is the GXP impact and what is the risk assessment result, whether it is low, high, or medium, as you see here, severity, probability, detectability, and who did it, when was it completed, along with the date and time stamps as part of the GDP practice. And as you see the validation standards, which validation standard was it used? GMP category 5, 4, 3, right? So, and also the which framework was used. So all these details will be displayed by just selecting the system itself here. And if you just come down, you will see the deliverables as part of implementing this system, the functional specifications, the installation IVs and operation qualification, the test cases, the functional test cases and UATs, and also the user specification requirements. So as you see here, the green ones which are configured mandatory, and these are all optional, and all of them have got their own assessment ID if they're having them. And as you see, we can configure whether it's optional or mandatory. When all the mandatory documents are approved, the system goes to the validated status. So I can select one more. As you see here, when I'm hovering with my mouse, it says work in progress because some of the documents are still yet to be approved. When I see here, it shows green color, and when I hover the mouse there, it says the system is valid there. So that is because the assessment is approved and all the mandatory deliverables are also approved. So as you see here, these two are approved along with the optional ones. So when everything is completed, the system goes to valid status. So this is how you can access your inventory option here. In the home page, we have seen the dashboard. So as part of inventory, you also have this release plan details and also the content flow for each of the systems that are configured here. And like I said, all of us work in different projects, so we can customize and place our system details wherever we want, so that all the team members, irrespective of the time zones, for example, if I have counterparts working in Basel or some of them working in India, so round the clock, they can access the same path and they can access the same documents and they can see the status of the document and they can take it from there. Let's say if it is in work in progress, or if I submitted a document for review, they can see it, whether the document is still under review or whether it is approved or not. Because this system, it allows them to see it real time and it is visible to everybody. So you see the list of statuses here: validated, verified, work in progress. So this is all about inventory. So let's go back to the presentation. So as you see the execution and also the traceability matrix, scheduling assessment. So to just save time, so I have recorded some of the videos. So let me share one of them instead of doing it on the application. Okay, someone is joining. Okay, I've admitted. Okay, so let's do one thing. So we'll go with this third one called execution with the deviation. Okay, or maybe we'll first start with, yeah, let's go with execution with deviation. So I have recorded the demonstration of the application so that it will be easy for you to understand instead of me doing on the application itself. So So as you see here, first of all, it's on the dashboard page. I have assigned the task to myself. It's a functional test case. When I open the test case, I see the table here and the list of steps that are here. So as you see here, we have the actual result and the expected result. So when I copy the actual result, it says this is the expected result and I paste it there. And I have options here to select the type of evidence that I want to capture for that test step. So here, let's say I want to capture the actual result. So I have option here to copy it. And then as you see, attaching, uploading the file, capturing the entire screen or attaching the photo or attaching the video. So I have all these options. So I'll select the attach photo option using the camera icon. I just do that and click on it so that the photo is captured. You see that snap, and then I have an option to pass the test step and also record it. So when I hit the record button, it shows pass and also the date and timestamps are captured along with the evidence. And I can add my comment here manually, if not copying it from the expected result. And see for the second test step. So I'm here selecting the attachment option and I'm browsing my computer and selecting the right attachment. And once it gets uploaded, I select the attachment and click insert. This way, I'm just showing you different types of evidence attaching options. The first one was using the camera icon, and the second one using the attachment option from the computer's local drive. So similarly, we'll go to the third step. As you see here, I'm copying the existing result and I'm saying here the installation complete is not displayed because here the exception as in here the basically test case is failing. So how do we record a defect or bug or exception, however you want to call? So as you see here, it is saying, do you want to initiate an exception for the fail step? So I say yes, because the test case did not pass. And here it is automatically allowing me to, the ValGenesis is allowing me to raise the defect or exception automatically. Here I can select what type of severity it has and is there any exception template that we have, and write the justification what exactly happened, why is the installation complete button did not display. And I can assign this defect to anybody as a group or user, and I'm assigning it to myself, and I click on submit, I enter the comments. So this way, whenever I execute a test case, I have the option to raise the test case then and there, the defect then and there for that test step which did not pass. How beautiful it is. Raising the defect then and there instead of logging them or making a note, or maybe sometimes we tend to forget later, right? So let's go to the fourth test step. So I select that, and here I see the entire screen or partial screen option. So I'm just sharing the screen and copying it. So screen capture option. There is the third type of evidence capturing option. And then I'll mark the test step pass and record it. Similarly, the fifth step without even doing any attachment. So once I complete all the steps, it's asking me to record the credentials so that it will document that, okay, I'm the person who executed this test case step by step. And once I do that, as you see here, the top right action button, so I have an option to view the exceptions or the defects. So I see I have raised one defect and this is the exception number that got generated for it. And I can see the details here, who executed it, what happened, what was the issue, what is the what type of deviation it is. Is it a severe, high severity, low severity? And similarly, we have an option to route to the approvers because we can't route this test case because one of the test step is failed and I have the test defect that I've raised. So I go back to the execution. So now I'm showing you how do I execute when there is an exception. So I select the exception here. When I go to the test execution exception option, I come back to the exception page. So I'm writing it here again, what happened, what kind of deviation it is, and I'm re-executing it because I want to re-execute to see if the application is fixed after the defect is fixed now. So this is the step. I'm re-executing which particular test step. I selected row number 3 and I said submit. So it will take me back to the execution page. So it's the status changed to under re-execution now. So I go to the third test case now again. So I re-execute that step now. So here this time it is passed and I record it. it will ask me to enter the password again because I'm re-executing the test case here. So as you see here, the previous exception number, what was the original value which was failed, and now the re-executed value. So it differentiates between the previous execution and the current execution and who executed it. So this way, I'm executing the task and then I click on submit. So, so as you see the exception here, so it is executed successfully now, and there is no approval that is required. So I'm customizing it that way, and I click on submit. Basically, I'm closing the exception as well for that test case which I've raised earlier. So this time what I'll do, so now that this test case is already executed, I'll go to the test case now. So I see all the steps are executed, and all of them have got date and timestamps and the test user who actually executed the test case. This time I can route it to approver. So when I click on route to approver using the action button and click on submit, this test case will be routed to the approver, and the status you see it changed to under approval. So when I select the document name again, so when I approver sees the document, it looks like this, and he has an option to select accept on the top right. So as you see, approve action. First of all, he has to accept the task, that the approval task is in his bucket. So and then he reviews the document to see whether all the test steps are executed properly or not. And he has this hyperlink to open all the evidences that we attached part of our execution, which we did a couple of minutes back. And then if I click on action and do approve, similarly again, this is capturing the e-signatures as part of our 21 CFR Part 11, the electronic signatures. So the system allows to do that instead of manual signatures. So this is one more feature that the system is offering, especially for the execution part. So let's go to one last feature. Maybe we'll try the trace matrix this time. I'll show you exactly how the trace matrix works here as part of ValGenesis. Like you see here, when I go to the content page, I'll show you the path here. So in the content page, we have trace matrix. So I was showing you the options here, right? So if I go to the home page, I have content here. When I click on content, I have this trace option. So this way, when I go there, so in the application, I have created a new trace matrix or the traceability matrix. Now I'll show you how I will connect or map all my test steps with the individual requirements so that a traceability matrix document will be automatically generated instead of doing it manually. I was involved. I was a testing resource earlier. We used to have nightmares by just mapping each test step to the test case. I mean, the test step and the requirement, right? So that's a whole lot of work when I was doing it in the initial years of my career. So let's see how ValGenesis simplified it and how it created it easily. So on this page, when I'm creating a new traceability matrix, I have an option to select which type of requirement it is, whether it is URS or functional specification. So I have selected user specific requirement here and also the functional specific requirements and the executable documents. What documents do we have? The UAT test case and the functional test case. So when I click on that and select the trace matrix option, so it is showing me the workflow here, URS functional specification to UAT to OQ, right? The OQ is nothing but the functional test case. And here we have two different views, spread view and trace view. So we are seeing the spread view here. So I see all the list of requirements showing up here and also the functional requirements here. So the first window is your business requirements and this is functional requirements. So now I'll show you the UAT test cases. So here, these are all different test cases, part of the UAT. And as you see here, all the corresponding references here, the URS requirement mapping it to the right test case. So this way, the coverage is being displayed here, one to one or one to many. So as you see here, this is the trace view. We have seen the spread view. This is trace view. In the trace view, we see the left side, we have got all the requirements. On the top, we have the test cases. So we are mapping them accordingly by using just the checkbox option. So that way, we are actually mapping one to one or one to many, like I said. So when I expand this in the OQ test case here, so it will be the same as you see here for so and so test case, FRS1, FRS2, or FRS2 and FRS3 are connected here. That requirement is being mapped to this particular test step. So the test step versus the requirement. So they are getting mapped here. And based on these two views, you can select any view you want, whether it's a trace view or a spread view. So when you start selecting the checkboxes, it'll display it this way, the way you select it. And whichever are uncovered, for example, there are some test cases which are not covered. So those will be displayed here in case if we do not do the mapping at a requirement level or at the test case level. So as you see here, I can go and select the requirements, like a y-axis, x-axis is nothing but the previous trace view, spread view that we have seen. So I'm selecting them here appropriately, whether it's a testing level. See, like we have options to do the testing level selection as well. So the previous one was a risk assessment level or the requirement level, right? So this is testing level. So as you see here, there are no uncovered test cases. All the requirements and test cases are covered. So this is how the traceability matrix is generated. So likewise, I have the recorded videos for the other features that ValGenesis has to offer as well. So we have seen, like I think we have seen about 3 to 4 features so far. So this is how we can still get into details. Like I said, if you want to know more and learn more and see in your project if there is a specific use case that we will have to address using this ValGenesis tool, we can definitely get into details and understand that, right? So I'll share the details and the videos for people who want to know more. And I want to talk a little bit about the ValGenesis partner, my parent company, Billennium. So I would like to just give you some more credentials about it. So I'll take a minute here. So Billennium is a global IT MNC with about 1,600 plus IT professionals worldwide, and they have offices in across 3 continents, and they deal with Fortune 500 companies with 120 plus customers. And they have been handling about 800 plus projects so far, with offering a lot of certifications, and they have this certified great place to work certification as well. And they are tied up with Microsoft and also now with ValGenesis, and it offers a lot of solutions as well. They have about 2 decades of experience so far. So that is it for now. I hope you had a good learning session, and I'm hoping that I could add at least some value for your time that you have spent with me today. Thanks a lot, guys, for joining. I hope you had a great time with me. Thanks for having me.
Billennium. IT for people. People for IT.